post civil rights is in El Paso, Texas. Um, there was a study called the Glass Beach Study, and there is a reason why I'm calling you specifically with the Aspen Institute. So you'll just let me get to there.
But you understand, I'm the corporate secretary of the board. I'm just a secretary. I don't.
I know.
have
I need.
anything to
I'm
do
this.
with our programming.
I want. I want this. No, no, no. This message needs to go to the board, because it involves somebody that's connected to the Aspen Institute, and it's going to be a public relations nightmare if the board doesn't come out. And I don't. I don't think that you guys are a bad organization. However, let me explain. The Glass Beach study conducted in 2005, the city of El Paso paid $100,000 to fund this study that found that we had to replace dusty Mexicans with affluent whites. This is not my words. This is what the study found. Okay, this study was used to justify about $3 billion in quality of life projects. And I'll tell you, the study, it was designed, the way it was designed to city council was that it was going to involve ordinary Americans. I'm sorry, ordinary El Pasoans. What ended up happening is that it was 37 key executives who formed this opinion of the city of El Paso, and many of them that had conflicts of interest. I'm not going to go into all of them. I'm just going to go into one. The person's name is Woody Hunt. Woody Hunt is he has an institute that has to do with Latinos in society. He is a direct beneficiary from systemic racism and arguably going to be the new face of white supremacy in America. I would highly suggest that the Aspen Institute would revoke its association with Woody Hunt. Because the fact of the matter is that this is an issue of systemic racism. I'm working with my city council people to introduce a bill or basically a proclamation that what's the word, decries the racism or denounces the racism of the study, to get this money returned to them and to reveal who the key executives are per the city contract, bringing transparency. One of the names that I am absolutely sure of is going to be on there is Woody Hunt. And so the board, I'm writing a book about this process and the key stakeholders that I'm engaging in my mission to end systemic racism. On the absolute top of the list is the Aspen Institute. So if you can please have one of the board members call me as soon as possible. My phone number is, are you ready?
I'm ready.
310-334-9056. You know, this is probably a matter for the chairman, to be honest. But any of the board members that would contact me as soon as possible about this, I would really appreciate it.
And Woody Hunt's affiliation with the Aspen Institute, as you understand it, is what?
He has. Let me. The program that he has, ironically enough. He has a institute for Latinos that's associated with the Aspen Institute, which is really a shame because Woody Hunt doesn't really love Latinos. Look, and that's something that I think the Aspen Institute is really going to have to define with regards to his association. But let me go ahead and I'll email you this information because I know that it gets a little bit just muddy. If you it's going to take me about 10 minutes, but if you're so curious, you could just Google Glass Beach study and you'll find some information.
Can I interrupt you just 1 minute? I'm
Sure.
looking at this right now, and it looks to me like the Woody and Gail Hunt Foundation is merely a donor and supporter of the Aspen Institute for one of our programs. But there's a scholarship fund that's named after them, but they're not in any way affiliated with our programming or.
Well,
anything like that. It's a standalone. They
well,
have a fellowship that's funded by their foundation.
look, the board and its chairperson are going to have to themselves define all of their relationship and and denounce. I'll say this: the issue here is that sometimes people say that they are against fighting systemic racism and white supremacy, but won't fight actual systemic racism and white supremacy when it confronts them because of fraternal relationships. I don't want this to be the case with the Aspen Institute. What I'd love to see the Aspen Institute as the vanguard of the movement of critical race theory and ending white supremacy. What I would love to see is them to. This is low hanging fruit, to be honest. This is low hanging fruit. It should be. There should be no issue, not a single bit, in denouncing it. And like I said, I would like, because what I imagine is that Mr. Hunt's influence on El Paso's elected officials is going to make them hesitant to do so. So this is where I need to enlist key stakeholders whose mission it is to confront such things. The study was conducted in 2005. Yes. However, if you can see that just yesterday, the city of El Paso announced that they were adding another $96 million to our city's economy, our city's debt, in the name of public quality of life projects that are a result of this Glass Beach study. This isn't something that is, unfortunately, I've reached out to universities and their offices that deal with such matters, like the Chicano Studies program, the diversity program, both at the University of Texas at El Paso and at Texas Tech's office in El Paso. And there's a hesitancy to do so. Again, how we address this is, I think, going to really show Americans what white supremacy and systemic racism is, what white privilege looks like, how we address this situation. And again, Aspen Institute, being the vanguard of this movement, bears a specific responsibility to address this with Mr. Hunt, to address this to society. I sincerely hope that the board of directors and the chairman of the board will understand my urgency and seriousness in combating this very, very evil problem that permeates everything that happens in that most beautiful city. Ma'am? Hello?
Yes, I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
Trying to work.
Let me,
You definitely have the wrong person, but if you want to email me your contact information, I can forward it on to someone, either with our Latinos in Society program or our Vice President of People and Culture.
No, ma'am. I really do think that this is an issue for somebody at the board, somebody in the board. And again,
I know that you think that. I realize you think that. If you want to send me your contact information, I will forward it along.
Okay, ma'am. Can you please
But
copy?
again,
Look,
I'm just a secretary. I'm really not the person to receive all this information. I understand your passion. I think it's warranted. I think you're right to be passionate about this matter. That's my personal opinion. And if you want to give me your information via email, I can forward it.
I will, but before I do that, I'll tell you my passion is a curse. Because of my passion, people don't take me as seriously as they really should. And I'm working a lot to subdue my passion and to just not be emotional. Unfortunately, things like this, they affect people that live on fixed incomes. And I'm seeing my city slowly destroyed. I'm seeing people benefit from it. And it's a great burden to bear, to be frank. Unfortunately, most people don't understand these types of affairs. And Mr. Hunt has successfully convinced El Paso media. I'll tell you, maybe this will convince you of why the board needs to understand this. Mr. Hunt was the subject of a Senate inquiry back in 2019. He is the subject of a Senate inquiry. And because people were getting sick in his housing, the Secretary of the Army, all of the branches of the military were lined up. They all had to come there to answer about this problem with Mr. Hunt. The now president of the university, Heather Wilson, was the only branch of the military who had samples of this deadly mold. She became president the very next day after refusing to give testimony in front of Congress. The whole El Paso media blacked this out. Refuses to touch this with a 10-foot pole. This is a very serious problem. And this because media also forms, again, I'm sorry, but there are a lot of non-governmental associations, a lot of organizations that influence culture who have made themselves vanguards of such movements. And the board really does bear a responsibility to address this, to address it firmly, resolutely, and it is your personal responsibility now to pass this information to them and make sure that somebody at the board gets back to me. I will send you an email.
Kaya nga.
Yeah. I'm serious. I'm like dead serious.